Okay, let's hear now from our 2013 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship owner and championship crew chief, number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tool Chevrolet.
Good luck.
Wins the 2013 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship. Owner Rick Hendrick. This is Hendrick Motorsports' 11th NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Owners Championship, the most of all time. And this is his 14th National Series Owners Championship. And certainly the 6th with the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. Crew Chief Chad Knaus, this is his 6th championship, all with Jimmie Johnson. And that's second all-time in the history of the sport, behind Hall of Famer Dale Inman, who's got 8. And Chad's got 64 career wins, all with the Jimmie Johnson team. So congratulations. I'm going to hear from, let's hear from Chad first. Certainly, just a terrific run this season and in the chase. You handled the pressure, and you won another championship. How does that feel?
Boy, Kerry, I tell you, it's been a bit of a whirlwind. Obviously, the last I don't know how long it's been, 30 minutes or an hour. I don't know how long it's been, but it was a fantastic season. I actually spoke to my guys in the meeting before the event, and you don't know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, wow. You don't know what's going to happen when you come into these events. We've unfortunately had a couple races this year that we didn't finish as well as what we needed to get that 23rd position to have clinched. So when we went into the meeting today, I told the guys, you need to really focus on what it was that we've achieved throughout the course of the season. We've led a bunch of laps. We've won a bunch of races. We've taken a group of new individuals, new engineers, new mechanics, new pit crew members, and they've all evolved into a pretty spectacular team. I don't think we're even close to the potential of the team yet, so that's exciting for me. But they have really, really bonded well together. They've cared for one another, and they put the team first. And that's something that's hard to do, especially with the first-year team with all these new guys. So, Ron Malik, Jimmie, and myself are the only ones that are still here from 2002. So it's been quite a whirlwind and a bunch of new players, so it's a lot of fun.
Rick Hendrick, congratulations. You were in here just the other day, and you were just talking about how difficult it is to win these championships and how much they mean. And just talk about this one, this 2013 season that the 48 team performed so well.
So many things have happened along the way. The car's been great. Jimmie's been great. Chad's been right on the money, and Jimmie just drives the wheels off of it. But Matt had a heck of a year. I mean, an unbelievable year. And they were putting pressure on us, and we were, back and forth. And we get to Phoenix, and the first lap I thought we were going to wreck in the first lap. And then when Harvick made it 3 wide, I thought Jimmie had lost it again, and he saved the car. And then these restarts are just treacherous. And so I just didn't want to get excited about the championship until we could see the white flag or the checkered flag here tonight. And I thought on the restart where we got the fender tore up, it could be a big problem, there too. So it's hard to win one of these, and I'm really proud of Chad and Jimmie and for winning 6 and the whole organization for getting 11. It's been I never thought I'd win 1, let alone 11. So we're pretty happy right now.
Take questions now from the floor. Ed Hinton has one. Raise your hand, Ed, and we'll start, and then we'll go over to Lewis.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. This is for both of you. Jimmie said out there in Victory Lane a while ago that he doesn't even want to start the discussion of 7 championships and who's the best and all that kind of thing. But, Rick, you heard Richard Childress say the other day that he'll go down in history as one of the best, if not the best. Richard Petty has said he could win 8 or 10 titles. Denny Hamlin, just in here a while ago, said, I think he's the best there ever was. So for each of you, how, when you go into next season, I mean, this is going to be a chase for history, like for the rest of this team's existence. How do you deal with that? Do you avoid it? Do you handle it? How does any thoughts on how that'll work?
Well, you know, I don't think Jimmie can train any harder and work any harder as an athlete to be in shape or study what the car does or what the car needs. And Chad's the same way. I mean, I don't know how they can work any harder, and they don't leave any detail undone. And this week we've been talking about how we could be better for next year as an organization, and I just think it's the drive that they have, and I think when Jimmie, when you look at Jimmie Johnson, and I like to use the Parcells quote, "You are what your record says you are," and to hear Richard Petty say what he said, and Denny and the competitors, I mean, it's taken a while for people to want to acknowledge it, but they all know how hard it is to do this, and to come out and do it, you know, year after year, and have the record he's had, and the combination that he and Chad, again, I've been doing this for 30 years now, and the attention to detail that Chad goes through preparing for a race, and elevates the whole company, and Jimmie elevates all the talent in our organization, and you know, so you look at way Junior has run here in the chase, and you know, we're excited about next year. We think we'll be stronger, but it's just, I've never seen anybody with any harder work ethics than Chad and Jimmie.
Chad, you want to talk about that?
Wow. I mean, it's a multifaceted question, clearly. But, you know, when you hear guys like Richard Childress and Richard Petty talk about Jimmie in that light, he's an amazing talent. There's no doubt about it. He can do things with a race car that most mortals can't. You know, let's just be straight with it. And I'm very blessed to be his crew chief. But I know that the resource, the resource that we have at Hendrick Motorsports allows him to be as good as what he is. There's no doubt about it. You know, Mr. Hendrick has given us everything that we could possibly need with everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, with engines and the chassis. We're able to turn around and make things happen quickly, and that's not the way it is everywhere. And Jimmie responds to that. He's very into what it is that we're doing. He is very studious. He's very intuitive of what's happening around him, around what's going on when we're testing or when we're racing, and he feeds us great information. So he's pretty spectacular. I mean, he really, really is. He's very fortunate to be racing for Mr. Hendrick. But let me tell you something, guys. That dude's pretty amazing. He's really spectacular.
Well, do you think this whole drive for history that he's about to go on will even phase him? Will he even blink at it, maybe?
But see, you guys, that's what people don't understand. People think that we come into the chase and we ratchet it up. Okay, we're going to go. We're going to make stuff happen. I think that's a mistake. That's not how we operate. We try to operate at 10/10s all year long. And when we get into the chase, it's kind of the norm. Which, trust me, that pisses Jimmie off, right? You know, nobody wants to work that hard, but I demand that out of him, and he demands that out of me, and we bicker, we fight, we do all that kind of stuff. But when you condition yourself to be operating at 10/10s every single lap, every single practice session, every single race, when the chase comes around, it's more the norm than the anomaly.
Let's go to Lewis Frank, Bob Pockris, Tom Jensen. Lewis?
Yeah, Lewis Frank, Speed Week. Chad, I know your mind's probably on the 2014 Daytona 500, but your numbers are getting towards Dale Inman's. And stop and think and react to that.
I'm not even close to him. I'm not even close. He's an amazing individual. He actually stopped me today, and he's like, "Son, you don't know what hard work is." And I said, "You're exactly right, sir. I have no idea." And it's the truth. I mean, he's been able to do it with multiple teams, multiple drivers, in a time where I mean, I can't even imagine, right? Like he's driving the race car to the racetrack. You know, it's just like it's a completely different set of circumstances. So, yeah, we work hard. We get headaches, and I get work on the computer and do all that kind of stuff. That dude was in there cutting with a torch and welding and building and doing stuff like that. No matter what we're able to do with the 48 car, it'll never surpass what those guys did.
Go to Bob Pockris and then Tom Jensen. Bob?
I'm Bob Pockris, Sporting News. For Chad, you talk about a lot of your guys haven't been there for all 5, but I'm curious, what did they learn maybe from last year's run that they used either as motivation, or did you change any of the way any of your procedures this time around?
We didn't change a whole lot. I feel like that last year we had the best team. Unfortunately, midway through the season, there was some problems and changes and rules changes and so on and so forth that took a lot of speed from what we had at Hendrick Motorsports to cripple us. And otherwise, I think we would have waxed the competition last year. I don't think it would have even been close. But unfortunately, that happened. But coming into this year, we had changes. We had a lot of changes, and it was good. We had some guys that wanted to come off the road, get married. We had Greg Ives, who was my right-hand man for years, got the opportunity to be crew chief at JRM, has done a great job with Regan Smith over there. So things change, and I think that's the one thing that has helped this team is throughout the course of our careers, we haven't been afraid to change. And I've said it time and time again that you either have to change the personality or change the person. And we've been very fortunate that a lot of the people on the 48 have moved on to bigger and better. And that allows us to bring in new, fresh people. And when you're able to bring in new, fresh people into a proven commodity, you get some spice, you get some life. And we're very fortunate to have that this year.
Let's go over here to to Tom Jensen, and then we'll go to the press, to Nate, and then press box. Tom, Nate, press box.
Tom Jensen, foxsports.com. Congratulations, guys. Rick, with all that you've accomplished, I'm over here. Congratulations. Where does this rank? And do you rank them, or is this just another championship?
No, I think I said it earlier. We barely made it through the first year, and had plans to close the shop, and we got some help, and we went on, and I've said this many times. When we would go to New York, I thought you'd go to New York to watch Richard Childress and Dale Earnhardt get a championship every year, and then we won, and then we had 3 back-to-back, and I thought it was going to be easy, and then it was a dry spell, and then Jimmie gets on a roll and does 5 in a row, which I couldn't believe it when we did 3, and every one of them is special, and it makes you hungry to continue to try to win more, and credit to all the folks at the company that go to work every day, from the engine shop and chassis shop, and we've stayed together and stuck together, and they've got this championship mentality, and I'm amazed. The level of competition today is so fierce, and any mistake or any problem, or you get swept up in something, you don't get a chance to celebrate like this. So we kind of enjoy it while we can, and hopefully we can come back and repeat. But they're all so special. This one I don't know. I can't explain. After the last 2 years, I refused to think about winning it. My wife's sitting out here. I told her we weren't going to win it, and she said, "You're going to do it." And I just refused to believe it, just because of things that, like these valve springs right here. But I'm very thankful for the talent we have and what they put together and built, and it's nice to be able to win 11 when Petty and them had 10. But we'll just keep digging and see if we can come back and be competitive, and luck will be on our side next year, and we'll be able to win another one.
Go to Nate, and then we'll go to the press box.
Nate Ryan, USA Today Sports. Chad was asked this earlier in the week, Rick, so I'm going to ask you. it was 8 years ago, I think, after this race, where you had to kind of have the meeting between Jimmie and Chad to make sure they stayed together. Now, 6 championships later, is there anything that you think will ever, if they keep doing this, are they just going to stay together in perpetuity? Is there anything that will split them apart? I mean, how long do you think they'll stay together?
I don't know. Chad's pretty hard to live with. But, no, I'm just kidding. No,
he's not. He's not kidding at all. He's telling the truth.
That is truth. No, I think they have, and watching Chad and Jimmie both mature, they've learned how to not let things get to a point where there's a boiling point. And hopefully the success they've had, they know they're stronger together than they are apart. And I give Chad a lot of credit. You know, he was running hard against the chip back in those days, and he had to learn how to, you know, take defeat. And I've watched him, like I think it was Kansas when we wrecked, and he very calmly said, hey, you know, this is what we need to do, get the car back out there. And they have tremendous respect for each other, and the chemistry is the best it's ever been. The way they go about testing, the way they debrief, and I don't foresee me having to have milk and cookies deal again. I think they can see the success right where they are right now and what they're capable of doing, and I don't think they'll let anything come between that.
Let's go to the press box for questions. Go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. We all know how talented Jimmie is, you know, as an athlete, as a race car driver. What can you tell us about Jimmie the individual? You know, he's so overlooked into what an incredible person he is, but, you know, we just talk about his talent. I'm not quite sure that the fan base knows what an incredible human being he is. Can you both reflect on that, please?
You know, I see more 48 shirts out there than I do anything else now. I mean, and there are a tremendous amount of fans, Jimmie Johnson fans. And Jimmie doesn't, you know, I think Jimmie's such a special person. He doesn't wave the flag a lot. He does so many things for charity, Make-A-Wish. He and Channy raise a lot of money, build houses, do things. And he doesn't try to do things to gain attention or say, look at me. He's more about letting his actions speak for himself. And he's just an unbelievable guy, father, and friend, and he's I don't see any flaws in Jimmie, and I think the most impressive thing about him is that he lets his actions do the talking for him. He doesn't brag about it. He doesn't try to promote it. He just lets, you know, if he's going to go out and run 20 miles Monday morning or eat like he eats and exercise like he exercises, and you know, he's just a great guy. And the talents, I mean, I think you guys have seen it. The car control is just unbelievable, and being very smart and not putting himself in a tough situation. I think I heard McNabb say he wasn't an athlete. I'd like to see McNabb come run the Boston Marathon with him, or go swim, you know, the lake out here. But guys like that don't know what they're talking about. He wouldn't have been, you know, athlete of the year if people didn't know what kind of unbelievable athlete he is.
Chad, you want to comment on that?
What was the question again?
Talking about Jimmie as a person, as a competitor.
Yeah, look, man, Jimmie is a person. Wow, he's such a great dude. You know, it's so funny, we're so completely opposite, right? You know, he's West Coast. You know, I'm Type A city, details, and he's like, man, things will be okay, you know. And the thing that I think is the best about Jimmie is he always has the positive outlook. How he's able to maintain that is is amazing to me. I wish that I had a little bit of that, and I've been fortunate enough to work with him for so long that he's definitely rubbed off on me. And you know, when we get into situations where they aren't the most comfortable, or when things are a little bit stressed, it's really a good spot because I can look at him and he is, you know, he's been a mentor for me for understanding that there's more to life than just racing, and that's pretty cool. And I owe a lot of my change in attitude to Jimmie because he's opened my eyes. You have to realize I've lived my whole life in these damn circles, right? I mean, in the middle of the racetrack, that's where I live. You know, you see the circle and you put me in the middle of it, that's where I've been for 30 years of my life. And Jimmie's made me realize that there's more to it than just that. And it's pretty special. It's a lot of fun. He's opened my eyes up to a lot of cool things. And I love him like a brother, and you know, he's pretty special to me. He's a cool dude.
Come downstairs. Jim Utter has a question. Raise your hand, Jim, and we'll bring you the microphone.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. For Rick, not only with Jimmie's success, but your organization has produced 11 of the last 19 Sprint Cup Series champions. And kind of as Chad was talking about the level of commitment that the 48 has and maintains, I just wondered, what is it about you or your organization that you're able to do that in general for many of the people that come to work for you?
I think we just are very competitive, and we want to, you know, when we show up, do the best we can, and everybody in every department, they push each other to go to the next level. And I think after you win one, you want to win more, but there's a real spirit of family too inside our company, and guys like Chad, you know, they share information and they work together and they elevate the whole company. And you know, there were guys there. I mean, I go back to Harry Hyde, built an unbelievable foundation, and then people that came along just made it better. Randy Dorton and the engine shop, and then Jeff Andrews now, and I think there's just we want to go out and perform and do the best we can, and and if we don't, we go to work and work harder. And I think last year was when we didn't win the last 2 years, it made everybody ratchet it up, and confidence is a big thing. And I mean, you look at again, Dale and Jeff came on strong in the chase, and just want to see the company grow and do more, and give people an opportunity, and everybody shares in its success. I've really, it's hard to put my finger on it other than we know it's important to stay together, we know it's important to have a plan, and we know it's important to execute, and we know we can't have if we keep our organization tight, we'll get beat now and then from the outside, but most companies get torn up from the inside. And if we can eliminate that internally, we should be competitive every year.